This is Sarah Dineen, who is an optometrist who has her own practice, her own domiciliary franchise, and also carries out children's clinics for the local health service. Sarah, can you tell us how you first got interested in optometry?
I was originally doing dentistry at Manchester University, which is what I did from leaving school, but I didn't enjoy it and I wasn't really very good at it. The fillings were too difficult and I didn't have the manual dexterity for it. I had a friend who had a flatmate who did optometry, and when she was telling me about the course, I thought that is the course I should have done, because it combined a healthcare profession, which is what I wanted to do, with maths and physics, which is something that I was good at. So I got in touch with the optics department at UMIST and they arranged an interview, and I swapped to optics the next year.
So how long have you been qualified?
I graduated in 1983 and qualified in 1984. So 29 years.
And where did you do your pre-reg?
I worked for Dolland and Aitchison in Sale.
And did you enjoy that? Was it a good place to work?
Yes. The thing that attracted me to Dolland and Aitchison was that they had a number of courses which they ran for the pre-regis at the time, which I thought might be helpful for getting me through.
And what do you think is the important thing about choosing a pre-reg?
I think things are more difficult these days for pre-regis. It was unheard of for people not to have a pre-reg set up when they left university in my day. Really, you need an interested supervisor and backup for any training that you need.
And where did you work when you first qualified?
I carried on working for Dolland and Aitchison for 6 months, and then subsequently worked for a couple of local smaller multiples. And
can you give us an overview of your work history?
I carried on working for these small multiples for a number of years, probably about 10 years after qualifying. In that time I did the part-time MSc at Bradford University, which I did on my day off, and I also started doing clinics for Booth Hall Children's Hospital, doing cycloplegic refractions. Again, that was on my day off. Then I decided that I wanted to have a little bit more freedom with the sort of work I was doing, so I became a locum.
And when you were working as a locum, was that for private independent practices, multiples, or a mixture?
It was a mixture. Independents, multiples, domiciliary companies, and I carried on doing the hospital work as well.
So what made you decide to stop doing the locum work?
I did carry on with the locum work for a number of years. During that time I started a family, so it was particularly useful, the flexibility of it, for when my children were very young.
And now you've got your own practice,
yeah.
So what prompted you to take the plunge and start off?
Part of it was just to see if I could do it. I thought if I didn't do it at that time there wouldn't be any point, because there wouldn't be enough time to build up the practice before retiring. And part of it was frustration, working in various places where they didn't do things exactly how I thought they should be done. Ending up with rechecks because varifocals hadn't been made up correctly. So I just wanted to be master of my own destiny.
And apart from your practice, you also have a domiciliary franchise. So what made you get into domiciliary work?
I'd always done domiciliary work, first as a locum for some of the larger companies, and then from the practice we used to set aside half a day or a day a week, and I wanted to build up that side of the business, and I felt that it would be better to do that under the umbrella of a larger organisation, which is why I took out the franchise.
And you still carry out children's clinics for the local health service?
I do. I carried on doing the children's clinics at Booth Hall until it shut down a few years ago, and I've been doing the clinics for the local health authority probably for about 16 years now.
And I understand that you've recently volunteered overseas as well, and used your optometric expertise in Africa.
Yes, I answered an advert for an optometrist to go to Malawi to work with a small charity travelling around prescribing recycled spectacles. I did this 2 years ago, and again this past February.
So is that something that you'd recommend?
Definitely. It gives you a completely different view of the way we live our life here when you see the way people live in Africa.
And you feel that you made a difference to the people in Africa?
Yes. Probably a lot more so than you do with patients here.
And do you see yourself carrying on pursuing these various ventures?
I might prune it down a little bit as I approach retirement age, but at the moment I'm successfully juggling all the balls.
Right, well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us, Sarah, and hopefully our students will be able to see that there's more to being an optometrist than just spending your time in the high street. Thank you.